This video is sponsored by Instant Gaming. Get cheap game time as well as other Warcraft products at affordable prices. Click the link in the description below to check it out. Hello guys, this is Doran's Movies, and today I will be talking about the Horde and how powerful they are in the lore, going through the history, races, characteristics, and the current state. So without further ado, let's get into the lore. Many years ago, back on Draenor, the Orcish clans were manipulated by the Burning Legion, leading to the creation of the very first Horde. After eliminating the Draenei, the Horde set out for Azeroth, starting the first invasion. Even though the Orcs were the main fighting force, it was also reinforced by the races like the Ogres and later on Trolls and Dragons. War raged on Azeroth for years, but ultimately, at the end of the Second War, the Horde was defeated. Orcs that survived were imprisoned, and the world of Draenor was completely obliterated. Eventually, the son of Durotan, Troll, would free himself from human capture and would reunite with the old warchief Orgrim Doomhammer as well as Grom Hellscream. Together, they would mount an offensive and free the Orcish people. This led to the creation of the new Horde, the one that we have today. Through the guidance of Medivh, Warchief Troll set out for Kalimdor in search for a new home. Along the way, he met the Dark Spirit Trolls, and after being captured by the Murlocs, they formed a long-lasting bond. After escaping, they landed in Kalimdor, a completely new and strange land. Almost immediately, they encountered the Bloodhoof Tauren that were in the midst of a bitter war against the local Centaur. They allied and drove them back, helping each other out. As the Tauren were native to the land, they proved to be a great asset to the new Horde. Together, they defeated the Burning Legion, and with the sacrifice of Gromash Hellscream, the Orcs were finally freed from the demonic curse. With that threat over, the Horde began life anew and established its new home. The Tauren were set out in Mulgore, their homeland, while the Orcs and the Trolls built mainly in Durotar and Barrens. The capital city of Orgrimmar was built, and over the course of years, it would become the strongest city within the continent. During the building process, Kul Tiras launched an invasion in their search for Jaina, which, even though a victory for the Orcs, was definitely not an easy battle. However, ultimately with the diplomacy of Troll and the focused efforts of the Horde, they really managed to build something. The Horde banned the use of demonic magic, at least to a certain extent, and they decided to start a new slate. Eventually, the Forsaken would join, giving the Horde a significant presence within the northern and eastern kingdoms, as well as new powerful allies. Shortly after, the Blood Elves would become new members after having a fallout with the Alliance in the past. In the future, a faction of the Pandaren would join, as well as the Goblins that were escaping their former homeland Khazan, struck by the Cataclysm. In the most recent times, Nightborne and High Mountain Tauren would also become a part of this group. Since the Cataclysm, there would be a massive change, but nevertheless the Horde still remains to this day. During the Shattering, Troll as a shaman stepped down from the role of the Warchief and had given the title to Garrosh, the son of Grom Hellscream. Garrosh Hellscream, a veteran of the Northern War, was very popular, and he greatly strengthened the Horde, building many new fortifications and turning Orgrimmar from a city into a battle fortress. He would subsequently start many massive war campaigns against the Alliance, disregarding any rules. This would lead to many war crimes such as the Mana Bomb, the desecration of the Veil of Eternal Blossoms, as well as the fall of Gilneas and many others. For a while this went on, but it would become clear that he believed in Orcish supremacy and he had disregarded the other races of the faction. This led to the rebellion and the union with the Alliance. Rebel forces and the Alliance invaded Orgrimmar, broke through the defenses, and defeated the Warchief. He would subsequently be tried for war crimes, but would escape into the alternate world of Draenor. Regardless, this civil war greatly weakened the Horde, and even now, years after the event, they're still recovering from it. It didn't really help that only a year or two later, the Burning Legion would invade once again, bringing destruction and a huge drain on the faction resources. During this time, Vol'jin was the war chief, but as he fell on the Broken Shore, Sylvanas would take up the mantle. Now, in battle for Azeroth, all-out war is breaking out again, and it looks like the Horde might be losing a lot of its presence within the Eastern Kingdom, but gaining it in Kalimdor. Even though the Horde is a multiracial faction, Orcish tradition is deeply rooted within. Members swear a blood oath to the war chief, Magara exists, and many other customs. Granted, ever since Troll left and Garrosh pretty much poisoned the well, this has been getting a bit less prominent. All of the races have their own leaders that have a vote and a say in regards to the politics and internal affairs. Much like the Alliance, the Horde isn't a single government, but instead a military and an economic coalition of the allied races. The Orcs are the core race and the founders, offering their own culture and warrior tradition. Through their fighting spirit, the Horde became a reality, and they are still the main cog in the war machine. The Trolls offer their ancient wisdom as one of the oldest races on Azeroth, as well as their voodoo and magic experience. The Turin, much like the Trolls, are also an ancient race, and even though massive and extremely physically powerful, they're surprisingly peaceful, famed for their druidic practice and expertise in connecting with the nature. The Forsaken are undead and quite numerous, now with their ability to raise new warriors. Not the most loyal members, but they do offer a lot, especially in regards to dark magic and necromancy. The Blood Elves, as the former High Elves, offer the Horde a great deal of power through the use of arcane as well as fel. Lastly, the Goblins, relatively new members, are famous for their engineering. They build machines, weapons, robots, bombs, and all sorts of powerful machinery. Together, all of these races help each other out and make the Horde strong. Geographically, the Horde has the most significant presence on Kalimdor, with the Orcs, Turin, and the Trolls having their capital cities within the continent. There is also a powerful presence in the northern and eastern kingdoms, especially with the fall of Gilneas and the rise of the numbers of the Forsaken. This will change in the battle for Azeroth, but regardless, the Horde does have serious presence within their home continent. Outside of that, they're also spread out in Northrend, Pandaria, Broken Isles, Outland, and Draenor. In terms of transportation, the Horde does have its own navy as the most significant asset. Outside of civilian travel, they can launch powerful naval expeditions into unknown lands and battles, as we have seen across Kalimdor, Pandaria, and the Eastern Kingdoms. With the Goblins as members, the Horde possesses zeppelins that might even be more influential than the navy, being able to also reach distant parts of the planet. Much like the Alliance, the Horde utilizes gunships, massive flying fortresses that play an important role in the war. Lastly, with the various mage races, portals play a big part in transportation, and outside of just transferring troops, they can also transfer materials not only across Azeroth, but even across other planets. In terms of power projection, the Horde is able to accomplish a lot. With their means of transportation, they can reach distant parts, and not only reach, but also conquer. They're able to ship building materials and move resources very quickly, being able to construct brand new bases. Aside from that, as we have seen, the Horde wields some powerful weaponry such as mana bombs, plague, and other weapons of mass destruction. All of these play a big role, not only in war, but also politically. So, how powerful is the Horde? In my opinion, very powerful and influential, but it does have its own weaknesses. The biggest downside is the fact that they're low in numbers. Almost all races are either outcasts or refugees. The Orcs are just survivors of all of the Orcish clans, the Turin were nearly wiped out, the Dark Spirit Trolls were very close to extinction, the Blood Elves are only 10% of what they were a few decades ago. It is really only the undead that are able to raise new members rather quickly. However, what they do lack in manpower, they do make up in experience, being extremely battle hardened. They also possess powerful magical users, some of the strongest on Azeroth, as well as legendary weapons. Overall, even though the Horde has seen its ups and downs, it is still one powerful faction. Alright, and that is all I have for this video. Do leave your thoughts below on what you think, and don't forget to like and subscribe, as it really helps out and keeps all the content going. Thanks a lot for taking time out of the day to watch this video, and see you next time.